I might have food in my teeth I just finished eating. So, this is me at home. Protein drink, glass jar, long use. This one's plastic, but I have glass ones as well. I have some metal ones as well, but they have flavor. I don't like that. This is me when we've been running late and in an emergency. Plastic. Everybody gets up in arms about single-use plastic, and they define that as plastic cups and plastic straws and all of that. And there was a thing that came out the other day about yoga pants being the #1 culprit for plastics, and I saw a couple of my friends really push back on that. It's like, no, seriously, this is much harsher on the environment than that straw was. That straw stays in straw shape, eventually starts to break down in 5 to 20 years. This turns into microplastics, which contaminate the environment. The hardcore eco people have been screaming since the 70s about microplastics and legacy compounds, legacy chemicals, things that don't have half-lives. PFAS is a chemical that's in farmlands that is slowly but surely turning farmlands unfarmable because it doesn't break down, it just concentrates. We buy stuff like this that's a single-use plastic. In theory, it's recyclable. In theory, there's no actual recyclable symbol on it. But they don't get recycled. Very few people actually recycle stuff like that, just the hardcore eco people. And if you wanted to be the hardcore eco people, you could bring your cloth bags to the store and your jars for the filling things up, and then the store will tell you, well, they can't tear that, so they can't weigh it, so you're going to have to pay for the weight of the jar every time you buy that. And it goes on and on and on. And you wind up buying plastics. You don't want to buy the prepackaged beans because they come in plastic bags, so you go over to the bulk bin section where you have to put those beans into a plastic bag. Some of the co-ops have non-plastic bag options, but that requires going to a co-op, and it gets more and more complicated. The notes I wrote on this were single-use plastics are a minor part of the problem. Disposable, conspicuous consumption, and casual shopping. Yoga plants equals microplastics. It is a much bigger part of the problem that we boredom shop. Okay, so there's a video going around from Como News 7, I think, about Seattle's homeless problem. And part of it they focus on is the trash. Here in Portland, we have a homeless problem. It's an amazing amount of trash. Where do you think they get it? They get it out of your garbage can. If you want to cut down on homelessness and trash, quit buying stuff that winds up in the dumpster. And yeah, people listening to this, probably not you. But the next time you hear the Beckys or the Karens or the Jamals bitching about homelessness and trash, look at them. The average American will buy a pair of pants, wear it 7 times, and throw it away or donate it. Most of the clothing donated to the Goodwill goes into their dumpster. It's not used. Most of the stuff donated to thrift stores and stuff gets thrown away because it's not as usable as people think it is. But the plastics are coming from, that's a single-use item. Do you think of that as a single-use item? Let alone that the tape is plastic. There's thread on it because I'm working on yarn. That's a single-use item. How do you reuse that? Okay, well, you could, in theory, pop this out and put a refill in. It's awfully flimsy. It'll last maybe 10 more times. It's still a limited-use item. Back when there were dinosaurs roaming the earth, the tape would come in a substantially more It would come in metal or glass. The husband buys tooth powder from India because it's Colgate. It's everything in a tube of Colgate toothpaste, but it's powder without the fillers, and it comes in a metal tin. It's a conscious choice. You have to look consciously. You have to not buy this when you're out and desperate, and instead only buy cans or bottles. See, note I'm not being a hypocrite. I admit fully that right now I live a plastic life. We had about 20 years where we were really, we'll call it crunchy granola type people. The kid called us hippies. We weren't hippies, we were preppers, but there's a difference. We had about 20 years where we were hardcore about it. And the sheer weight of it adds up after a while. You know, the old saying, after a while you just want a cheeseburger, you know? Yeah. I'm there's a lot of things I want to say, but they sound too snarky and they sound too bitter. There's this kid in England who collects all the bottle caps. Okay, these right here. Off everything he can from all of his neighbors, and he collects all of the plastics like this that aren't transparent are recyclable, same as the bottle caps are. And he gathers them all up, and there's a video of him, and he grinds them all up, and he melts them, and then he remelts them, and then he forms them, and then he presses them, and he makes slingshots. He's like 12 years old. And the video is really awesome, and if you watch it, this is a good reuse of plastic. Because made into a slingshot, the way he's making them, that sucker's going to last 75 to 100 years. Okay? But my first takeaway is, wow, that's a professional shop he's working at. I wonder who his dad is. Because somebody, or his mom, somebody's a professional engineer. Okay? And they have hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of shop equipment. And they have the knowledge and the thing to help him learn how to do this and to encourage him to do this. But it's a brilliant reuse of plastic, okay? The trick with plastics is to take responsibility. When I wind up with one of these cups, we reuse them ad nauseum. When we had the house, we planted in them. When we were in Pennsylvania, we planted in them. When we have the next house, we'll plant in them. They get washed and they get reused probably 30 times. But it's still plastic, and it's still going to go into the garbage can eventually. And when I'm out and I'm thirsty and I'm dehydrated, the choice between grabbing a $1 soda or grabbing a bottle of water or grabbing something for $2 or grabbing something in glass that's going to have way too much sugar for me for $3 to $5, in all honesty, I grab the soda because that $1 soda is a better buy for me, and I will make penance later on. That's as best as I can do right now. I like the plastic roads some people are making, some municipalities are making. That's a good use of the plastic. Plastic clothing, gonna have to really work on that one. These are going to be huge issues coming forward. They really are. The breakdown or the micronization or whatever the phrase is of plastics, it's a bigger deal than global warming, and global warming's a pretty damn big deal. Okay? And if you don't believe in global warming, I got some dinosaurs to sell you. I really do. Don't call it global warming, climate change. Okay? In 1984, I think it was, Discover Magazine did an article on the threat of reglaciation, that if the temperature gets too warm, it'll flip and we'll have glaciers again. At no point has the science behind that original study that they were reporting on been debunked. The movie Day After Tomorrow was all about that if things go too bad for too long, it will flip, and it will flip suddenly, and it will flip hard. If you study 1800 and froze to death, the year without a summer, that was one volcano. Fucked up the planet for 5 years. Okay? We really need to understand that climate is a much more dangerous thing than we realize, or than we're allowed to realize. Plastics are just as big, if not bigger. Saturated fats are bigger than smoking. I mean, there's all these issues that have been known. I remember as a kid, people, smoking causes cancer. Ha 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 ha. Want a cancer stick? Well, yeah, guess what? Smoking causes cancer. You know? It's the same with plastics. It's the same with Crisco's. It's the same with climate change. These are all known things, and then I get on Facebook and I have 5 or 6 people I thought were intelligent going, "Oh, I didn't know that. I didn't know Michael Jackson was a pedophile." How did you not know? How did you ignore all this? And that's the world we're in right now. It's been 11 minutes and I've been really depressing. So yeah, I'll talk more on environmental and plastics and things that you can do that make a minor difference in the future, because every little bit does help, and you don't have to go hardcore granola to make a difference, although going hardcore granola would make a difference. And Lorianne asked me to talk about teenagers, and I'm going to give that a day or two's thought. I'll talk to you later. Bye-bye.